We're live for yet another of my abbreviated programs called Politics and Power. We meet on a Monday. When we do not meet on a Monday, probably there is something happening on that particular day that does not allow us to meet. But as long as it is possible humanly, we have a rendezvous on a Monday evening at 8 o'clock on my program called Politics and Power, which is a featured program where I come in and deal with issues of politics and matters relating to power. And on this particular program, I'm looking at the real Dominican as a focus. We're all Dominicans, native Dominicans, meaning people who were born on the island of Dominica, the Caribbean island. And yes, we are all real in some way, shape, or form, but the real Dominican is a sort of framing that I decide to use to speak about what I think is real about people who are Dominicans. And I think it is a standard across the board for every Dominican who believes that they are real. So I will speak of those virtues in this program just to keep it a bit light, because you don't always have to deal with serious issues when it comes to politics. There are times when one or two does present a narrative that is acceptable and palatable to all. I believe sometimes we get too bogged down with the vendetta sort of politics, party politics, tit for tat. I hit you, you hit me, you hit me, I hit you back kind of politics. The real Dominican is someone who understood that politics has its time and place and its moment in our lives. Well, electoral politics, because politics is always there, but electoral politics has its time and place. And that when that time is gone, we evolve out of the time. It so happened that in the past quarter century and more, the politics of our country is 24/7 when it comes to the electoral politics. Because some people have gotten involved in the game and they have learned the art of power. And as such, they are constantly on a quest, campaigning actively, calling snap elections here, there, and everywhere, just to continue to organize that thing called power. Which again is not necessarily a criticism, it is just an analysis to explain the view that our electoral politics is 24/7. And all is not on the shoulder or on the doorstep of the incumbent party in power. The same is true for the incumbent party in the opposition. That's why Dominicans in large numbers are suggesting that incumbency on both sides of the political divide in Dominica should go. And there are some who support the opposition incumbent who do not agree. They have not yet realized that it's time to change, to revamp, to retool. The real Dominicans are saying it's time. Not everybody is, but a great majority of Dominicans are saying, let us do the thing the way we used to do it, man. Let's get back to the drawing board. Not about party for me now, it's about my country. And here's what I would like for my country. So the real Dominican is my focus, and I will touch on a number of things which I believe make someone real. And again, for my viewers who are not necessarily native Dominicans, you understand by now that the ethos, the epistemology of my narrative comes from my upbringings on my native country. And I make a particular effort to speak about things that I think I can speak about when it comes to the politics of the country, because I think it is my remit to so do, especially since the country has been enduring political incumbency situations on both sides of the political divide. One party is in power for a quarter century, one party is out of power for a quarter century, and maintaining a space in parliament. Not good on both sides. So it's time for a sort of realignment of the power holders, the power brokers. And I'm not saying so because I want to say so, I'm saying so because Dominicans are saying so. In fact, I think the prolonged incumbency of the party in power is mainly due to the fact that people do not quite agree, or they're not satisfied, or they are not fully sold on the idea of Tiwe in Sala avec Mete in Sala. If you're native Dominicans, you'll understand what I said. But for those who don't quite understand Creole, the people on the island are not necessarily convinced that the removal of one party to replace it with another party does not really give that much of an incentive at this time. And again, the people from the incumbent opposition are going to say, well, what are you talking about? It's us now, it's our time. I'm not sure that's what Dominicans are saying. But I'm going to talk about the real Dominicans in my expose, and we will see how that works out. Again, as I said, this is an abbreviated program. My followers, some of them have asked me to go on and do longer stints, probably in the future, but for now, 20, 25 minutes stops is about what I like doing to allow more space for other people, because I'm just one out of hundreds of thousands of people who probably try to get the attention of the people in that space. So my little 20 minutes is fine. In and out, and somebody else will do their beat, and we will all do our beat. Talking is never too much. In fact, talking is a very good form of action. Parce que là, mon papa, you don't know what they're thinking. A lot of times I feel like talking and I say, you know what, nope. And a lot of times I don't talk, people do not know what I think of. Yes, there are people who parle tous les jours. Well, it's okay if you want to do that. It's just that for me, it's not a thing that I would do. Although people say I love to talk, and my name is Talk Powell, but there is a time and a place for everything. All right, so the real Dominican, based on my understanding of the real Dominican or Dominicans, is someone who's willing to assist no matter what. And I mean assist with home chores, farm duty and labor, work, caring for the elderly, of the other person, the neighbor, caring for the disadvantaged, looking after people's children, looking out for people's children, sharing what they have, and depending on the other to do the same. That's what I remember a real Dominican was. Someone who accepts things for what they are, deal with truths as much as possible, doubt where is necessary, but do not arbitrarily dismiss, know how to differentiate between fact and fiction, vie blague and seriousness, wit and things that are less wittier. The real Dominican is someone who mourns with their neighbor and friends when they are mourning, who smiles, dances, and gets involved in jubilant behavior with others, feels the pain that others feel and identify with others' struggles. The real Dominican, based on the Dominican that I used to know, is a Dominican who will say things to you, to your face, and not wait until you are no longer in this space to say things about you. The real Dominican is someone who will see you going wrong and say, my brother, my sister, here's what I think. What can I do? Let us fix that. The real Dominican is someone who would make the time to care, make the time to listen, make the time to share. The real Dominican is someone who is empathetic, who assumes the position of the underdog, who rejoices with the underdog, and who seeks to equalize opportunities for all. A real Dominican is the one who will present a genuine smile without pretense, who would hug firm and true, who would be studious about the things that he or she must be studious about, who is industrious, who is loyal, who is friendly. A real Dominican is someone who would see you in distress and try to help you, stay without to give you what it is that you are being starved of. A real Dominican is someone who will find it in their hearts to create a scenario for others whereby their suffering and pain would be appeased. A real Dominican is someone who would go out and support someone who needs the support. A real Dominican is someone who would call wrong wrong and call right right. A real Dominican is not generally necessary one who will sooty away, who will cast a blind eye at things that you should not cast a blind eye on. A real Dominican is one who understands the need for service. It is rooted in the national anthem of Dominica. I love beauty, I love splendor, I to also sweet and fair. It is also embedded in the pledge of the nation. A real Dominican is someone who listens, analyzes, thinks critically, works hard to earn their keeps, maintain friendship and community ties, involved in cooperativism, and will defend the island's culture and traditions against all odds. A real Dominican is someone who would procure their own food. Every Dominican who I know who was real had a backyard garden or a front yard garden or a flower pot with garden in it or a farm. A real Dominican is someone who feeds themselves and their family, not waiting for politicians necessarily to do so on your behalf. A real Dominican is someone who finds ways to make things happen. A real Dominican is someone who really cares and admires. In the same breath, a real Dominican is the one who gets angry when it is necessary to get angry and would light a fire within a minute's notice if there is the need, not for a literal fire, but for a nice little mépris, some expressions, narrative that puts you straight. A real Dominican is someone who knows that our better days are ahead and not necessarily looking back at the past to determine what the future is. Yes, the future is determined by the past. But the real Dominican whom I know did not dwell there. The real Dominican, therefore, does not exist in past fame. You were great yesterday, today we want something else, that's it. Don't bring me back when you were great and tell me that's when it was and when you do. The real Dominican is someone who has dignity, who lives a dignified life, who is clean, physically and spiritually clean. Religion seemed to be a new thing now in the modern day Dominica, but the real Dominica did not see religion as a vice. They saw religion as a platform to grow their own life circumstances and to gauge their morality. Religion was not a judgment. Yes, it might have been, but the real Dominican honestly and conscientiously used religion as a stepping stone to a greater heaven, to a greater calling, to a secured place, to navigate safely through the afterlife, and also to measure the quality of life that is currently being lived. A real Dominican is someone who finds different ways and look at the beautiful things in individual and accentuate them. The real Dominican that I know does not focus on past failures, but looks at future promises. A real Dominican is someone who loves strong, robustly, extremely passionately, and hates that much if it is necessary for the hate to be manifested. A real Dominican does not like people to take advantage of others. Real Dominican does not like bully. A real Dominican is not a bully. A real Dominican does not hog things selfishly in a greedy way. A real Dominican knows when to say when. I'm talking about the real Dominican that I know. A real Dominican is endowed with a particular nature island virtue that is second to none, and it's not equal to any other country's citizen. A real Dominican learn how to take care of their conditions, not to medicate, but to cure, not to treat, but to heal situations. A real Dominican believes in internal and inner beauty, and that the physical attributes are manifestations of the inside. A real Dominican gossip, but not callously and carelessly so. A real Dominican gossip right to your face. Tell you, boy, you run down, man, you make, man. Well, where you was all the time now? I check in, you die, man. Now, that may sound a bit harsh, but that's how a real Dominican does it. Tell you as they see it. A real Dominican has a sense of innocence, but the real Dominican is not innocent. A real Dominican can sometimes come across as being naive, but the real Dominican is not naive. So the real Dominican that I know sometimes is lost in the present. Parce que on pile Dominican actuellement, à présent, jodi jour, do not seem to have the characteristic of the real Dominican that I used to know. And the call is tonight as I get ready to end. How can we be real again? What does it take for us to be real Dominicans again? If you heard, for instance, that we are going to lose this sort of realness that we had as a people and a country, would that cause you to be real? Well, the fact is, or chances are we might just be. Because I cannot see how great an incumbent situation is on both sides of the political divide. Those in and those that out now, wanting to get in, do not know hold the magic of realness for Dominica. Progress, the pursuit of happiness, equality, fairness. The real Dominican exists in the proper space, but somehow the real Dominican has gotten a bit quiet and silent, I guess waiting for a real program which will guide them, inspire them, spark some interest, rekindle the realness that they have. Real Dominican knows when to strike and when not to strike. The real Dominican understands survival, but also deals with thriving. The real Dominican is you. And you, and you, and you, and you. So get that realness spirit again that is lost, or is forgotten, or was abandoned. Because Dominica, now more than ever, need real Dominicans to take care of her condition, to deal with her affliction, to fix her up, to propel her in the progressive direction in the future, to look back, yes, but not to go back there to see that this is what it was and that's what it should be. Is to say, look, I want to hold your hand because together we can travel the journey to progress and prosperity. All, not some. Well, all will never go, but the majority. Right now, it seems as if the minority clique is telling the majority what to do, and that is not a realness when it comes to Dominica's liberty. And that is my program. I dealt with the topic, I stuck to the topic, I executed the topic, and I'm satisfied that I have expressed the views that I wished to express on this program. So anybody who reviews the program will see that at least I made the effort to treat the topic in the way that I should. And at the end, I had suggestions as to how we move forward. I want to thank you for being here, those of you who joined me live, and those who will review the program sometime later. Thank you. You are a real Dominican. So let your realness show. Because if there was ever a time when Dominica needed its citizens to be real, now is the time. Today. Right now. That's my program. I'm not too sure about comments. If there are any, I'll take it quickly. If not, I'm going to retire until next Monday when we do this again in the evening at 8 o'clock. Let me thank the people who are behind the scenes who are helping in the production of my program. If you think I look good on my program, it's because I have people producing my work for me. Carlos is the producer in chief. He is the man handling everything. I just have to appear here, and Carlos has me looking good, sounding good in terms of light and sound, graphics as well. If you are a content creator, if you are someone who uses social media to message, and you're looking for someone to produce your work at a great rate, contact Carlos Charles. He has done this all his life, and he knows how to have you looking good. So I credit the professionalism of my work to Carlos Charles and the other members of the team who are managing my program and managing my image. Thank you, guys. Take a bow. I will see you again live on Monday for another similar exercise. Oh, I cannot not take that comment from my brother Chris. All what you're saying about real Dominica is basically non-existent in the now politically divided country. Real Dominicans seems once was those that can be real are quiet and selfish. Well, my brother, you can articulate that because you probably experience it as well. And I maybe just choose not to articulate it. But I call on the realness of Dominican to come through again, and we are saying things in different ways. You are hitting it straight on. You know me. I like to deal with issues in a way that does not seem to offend anybody. Although I've offended many, but it's not because of my doing. People will get offended no matter what. And I know I'm not looking for everybody to be my friend, but I'm also trying to build a coalition as best as I can, because John knows we need that in Dominica now. We need that now more than ever before. So, Chris, thank you for your comment and your support. I love you, Chris. You're a good man. You, Chris, are a real Dominican. I get the messages from you. I get the calls from you. Even the harassment sometimes from you. Hey, Sir Bruno, I need to talk to you. If I have to pay you for your time, I'll pay you. I need your attention now. I say, Chris, you never have to pay me for anything. Just talk. So, Chris, thanks for your comment. Stay well. Let's stay in touch. And let us try to get the realness of Dominicans going again. Okay, guys, that's it. I'm done. Oh, my God. I said that's it too quickly. I have to take Petra's comment. Petra, my sister, my family, my dear friend, my blood. Petra says, we need to be real again with progress and development, equality and inclusion, fairness and freedom, love and respect, spirituality and truth, hope. And truth, hope we find a way back to the realness, prosperity and justice. Eh c'est somebody la way, family moi. I'm saying that it's possible. The people that I know, the real Dominican I know was that. So I just think that Dominicans can do that and will do that. But what is lacking is that there is a sort of stagnation, a stalemate in the Dominican system. Il n'y a pas moun qui a position, yo parle sorti. They're there and they think they have been, the position has been willed to them. Many people, you know. There are people who I met in position when I was a child, when I came to Roseau at first as a teenager. When my first trip to Roseau I was not a teenager. But when I moved to Roseau, after I left Calibishi and I said I'm going to make a living in Roseau, there are people who I met as professionals in their position, and they are still in that position. They're still in it. Some just resigned recently after they put on extra, after they retired and come back again and work again and retire again. A lot of people, 90% of those people in position in Dominica right now, they have been there. So there is a sort of incumbency stalemate that affects Dominica across the board. So my sister, there are people who are hogging certain situations who don't want to come out, especially those politicians. Plenty of them. So the realness of Dominicans will show when a new group of people, I think, understand that, look, it's time, man. Out with the old, not old as in old, not good, but with the not progressive, and in with the new, the progressive. If Dominicans see a spark of that, you will see the realness of Dominicans come to show. Dominicans embrace MO News, you know. Yes, they still the media network there now, but they with MO News because MO News bring a sort of realness to the thing. Bit a nouveau, new idea, new whatever, creativity. And MO is not the most eloquent journalist on Ireland, but she is the most formidable media house. The last time you know is MO is on her way to Antigua. Antigua, somewhere for cricket. MO just came back from St. Lucia. MO is all around Atlanta doing her stuff. M1 and Asa Banton, the most traveled professionals in Dominica at this time. Well, Gordon Anderson is still holding it down, you know. Gordon is doing his business. Gordon just not doing the PR. There's no need for that. Gordon is just living the life. So there are some people who are maintaining who are progressive. There are some who are maintaining who are just blockers. And that is what Dominicans just agree. You know, I'm sitting on my hand. Let's just sort it out. I don't have to do what. Come out there. That's what Dominicans are saying. So the real ones are waiting. They're waiting to see something happen. Chris and Petra. All right. I know I say I was wrapping up, but whenever people like that, like my family and my brother, my soul, they step up, I have to respond, guys. So I'm not too sure whether we have exhausted those comments. If there is any other comment, now is the time because I'm going to cut off. Today, the day that I'm producing this program is the 17th of June 2024. That's the first time this program is being done live. So if you review the program sometime later on, 100 years from now, you will know that I recorded the program on that day. It is a Monday. And on that day, West Indies is playing against Afghanistan in the 2024 World Cup, Cricket World Cup. So the game begins now. So I have an extra incentive not to go on longer because I want to watch West Indies in the final of the group stage games against Afghanistan. However it goes, I'm a West Indian supporter. Even Afghanistan beat West Indies, it doesn't matter to me. If West Indies go in the second round and they lose against South Africa in the first game, it doesn't matter. It's cricket, it's game, it's a sport. But I will never deviate in terms of my support for West Indies. So I'm going to end the program, so I'm going to watch that cricket. So history will have it noted that West Indies played Afghanistan on that day. All right, take care, guys. I'll see you on Monday.